welcome to another episode of IT Pro TV. I'm your host, Mike Roderick, and with me today is Mr. Sean Oriano. How are you doing, Sean?
Doing real good. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We got another exciting episode in our Kali Linux series coming your way. We are going to continue talking about tools that allow us to do pen tests against web servers and web applications. If you missed the previous episodes, make sure you go back and check them out. We've already gone over quite a few tools, Sean, and you've got more to show us, right?
Yeah, just gonna show a few more here to kind of give you a look at a few more options that we have, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting to take a look at. First of all, one called W3AF. Just rolls off the tongue, I know.
Doesn't it?
I wish I thought of that. What this one does is this is a piece of software that allows you to again check for different vulnerabilities and do different analysis on a site, and you can actually customize it to tell it what type of checks you want to do against the site. So I think it's a really neat one, and it's definitely worth a look. So what I have done is I have gone ahead. I have this brought up on my screen here. This is a W3AF. What you can do with this is you can go in here and you can just punch in whatever your URL happens to be. So whatever you want to choose. So you can go in here and what should I choose a new website?
Oh sure, let's switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I mess off the top of my head. Yeah, so I'm always a mess. Somebody give me a good website. No.
Only one.
Watch this, White House. I'm trying to think of like a small website I can use. It would just be a small one, do a really quick look at. All right. Well, let's just we'll
tried and true.
We'll do our IT Pro. Won't cause any harm.
Yeah, if you guys lose connectivity, if our video feed stops, you'll know why.
Someone unplugged the server. I want to get out of here for the weekend. All right, so can't believe people are making me show up tomorrow. All right, so what you can do is you can put in the target, and once you put in the target, all we got to do is we check off the stuff that we want it to check. I will tell you some of these things are kind of mutually exclusive, and it will tell you if you tag one that if you tag one that is incompatible with another one, it'll bark at you and tell you, hey, that's not a good idea. So if I was to go through and just check a few things on here, you can say, oh well, it's telling you, hey, guess what? If you keep enabling this stuff. So if you enable all of them, it's going to take a long time to do this. Mm-hmm. So it'll let you do it, but saying you may not want to do this. And somebody get me David's information. I got a website I got to check.
Yeah.
In any case. What we're going to do is we're going to check a few, and you can see it's got different profiles you can do. You can actually, if you want, you have this empty profile that you can set your own settings on and reuse it. Mm-hmm. Or you can set your own, or you can grab your own profiles, or grab predefined profiles out of this list. If you see that the profiles we have on the left-hand side, notice it's got the OWASP stuff, the Open Web Application Security Project. So there you go. If you keep wondering what OOI, say OWASP and what that means. What it means is the name's too long. I'm not going to say it more than once. That's what it means. That's what OWASP means. It's got some pre-configured profiles on here. If you look at this one for OWASP, what does it have? Well, you can see it looks for the top 10 security flaws. Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of cool. That it will automatically check for those. And you've got other ones in here to do different types of audits. You can see this audit one. What is it doing? Checking for SQL injections, OS commanding, firing. See if it can fire things at the OS through the website. Insecure file uploads, FTP, anonymous uploads, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, so it's got some good stuff. Authentication stuff. Remember the password cracking stuff we did? It'll check to see if you have defenses against that. But you kind of get the idea. You guys have presumably have Kali downloaded. You can go through all these, later on as you see fit. So if I want to do my own profile, which I will go ahead and do, I just will put in, I'll put in this URL and I'll do a very basic, kind of look at it. In fact, I'll just go ahead and do a. The crawl is going to take a while. I don't think there's a ton of pages on
Right.
IT Pro site, but but you can do that. Yeah, this one you can see evasion going past IPSs. It tells you right there what everyone does, but you can still see what it does. So here's I'll do the grep one since it says it's going to look for emails and stuff like that. So that's nothing that's a big secret going to cause any problems. So what I do is I got the target, I got the everything. Oh, it's itpro.tv. All right, whatever. Okay, I'm not paying attention. Okay, I'm an expert on security, not spelling stuff right. So anyway, so you can see it's running the search. You can see the little kind of wheel spinning over there, so it's doing its job, and it can take some time. What it's doing. So I'm just kind of clicking through here, see if there's anything it's giving me any issues. It's spitting stuff out, and I would tell you the errors that this thing spits out or concerns it spits out. One of the things that these scanners tend to do a lot of is they might make you freak out. This is something that I wouldn't tell someone that's a novice to this stuff to necessarily look at these things too much, because they're gonna flip out and look at this going, oh my God, when am I ever gonna get rid of this? What's going on? It's like these things actually make it look like some of these things are more serious than they actually are.
Really, some of those vulnerability scanners do seem to over-dramatize some of that, and I don't know if that's designed to really stress the point, hey, you need to look at this. But I know I've seen admins run some of these and send you this page and go, oh my gosh, Mike, look at this, all this stuff that I found. I found this tool, it said to scan our server, and look at all this. And then you can sit down with them and go, okay, this is one that we can, accept, and we don't have to worry about that. And yeah, sometimes they do seem to get a little dramatic with the red and the this is a huge problem and you've got to fix it now, the high risk, things like that.
Yeah, they just don't. You've got to know how to really turn your kind of attention to this stuff and see. And do your research to see, is that really the issue that they're claiming it is? So don't just all of a sudden assume because it shows up that you've got some big, dangerous problem. It's saying, hey, this is something that that people have in the past, as well as research has shown, could be a problem. You have to determine if it's a problem in your case, and just how big of a problem is it. That's the things we're looking at.
And as a pen tester, that's probably our responsibility, right, is to take that report to them and explain to them the severity and the risks, and then they can determine whether or not they want to mitigate it or accept the risk or what have you.
Yeah, exactly right, is that you'd want to work with them, collaborate with them if they require, and determine what needs to be done. You're going to give them the advice, and then they can determine what type of work is needed, and if they really want to go any further with that, or just leave it as it is. So anyway, but that's just something to really think about. And yeah, it's kind of funny you mentioned about seeing people supervised like with reports. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that too. They just flip out.
They find some cool link on the web or some tool that their friend told them about, and they run it against one of the servers, and they come running down to the IT department with this thing in their hand, going, "Oh my God, what am I paying you guys to do?" That kind of thing.
Yeah, they don't get the context of that tool or what those results really mean. I mean, I remember the MBSA. Remember when that first came out? People were like, look at what this says. Look at how bad that things are. And like, relax. It's not that bad. You don't even know what that stuff means.
Your administrator account password is set to never expire. Never mind the fact that it's 25 characters long, right? But that's all right.
Yeah, there'd be little things that just it says so. There's a problem. All right. It says while you're at here, do I have time to talk to you about the dangers of dihydrogen oxide?
Yeah.
So which you should try it.
You can float your brain doing that stuff.
Yeah, it's responsible for a lot of deaths each year, man. Don't joke around about it. Okay. In any case, we've got the results here. So
How
good
bad is
news.
it, Sean? Tell us about ITPro.tv here.
Yeah, it doesn't. The things I'm seeing, there's nothing here that's really, kind of that jumps out at me as being a bad thing. Here it's stuff that okay, you have, they're there, and it can help people find out about you, or it's something that just may be something that you don't want to put out, but. I don't see anything that's a major problem in here, and you can see that it's got some DNS stuff in here. It's fine, okay. There's some DNS stuff that thought was of concern. Okay, whatever. Let's look at one of the red ones to see what's going on here. Secure content over HTTP. Okay, well. Don't know if that's necessarily a problem. It says that it says vulnerable URLs are HTTPS. Well, if that's really the case, then there is a concern there. Mm-hmm. But what makes me look at this and say, I don't think this is a concern, is that look what it's got after it. HTTP. Well, duh.
Right.
So but I would want to, looking at this, investigate it a bit closer and see why it's saying that, why specifically this is something that it chose to tell me about, because it seems pretty obvious when you look at it. But again, you would do your homework and see what that actually means. And so we can just keep kind of going through this list and see, is there anything else that is jumping out at us. So all right, I've got some shared hosting environment. Okay, fine. There's a shared host. That means there's other people on the server where IT Pro is hosting their content. Okay, this isn't a bad thing either, because you look at this thing. Okay, fine. You've got some other domains on here that are at the same IP address. That's not an uncommon situation. That's not a security problem per se. What that would mean for us is if we saw that and said, "Oh, there's more than one website being hosted at this IP address," well, I'm not supposed to have that situation. Maybe for a legal requirement, you can't have that. Then you'd say, "This is something that I need to do something about."
Or somebody had compromised your web server and was hosting their own web page, and you weren't aware of it.
It could be. It could be. So. It's just something to kind of do your little your checks on, and here it says click jacking. I don't see any really big problems there either. And to be honest, it's like I ran this before. I showed you guys. I ran it, and nothing here is a problem, because I didn't want to put up stuff out there. It was hey, look, it's on video that what's wrong. No, I checked it, even though stuff's is in red. It's not a concern. It's not a problem. So that's something you'd want to do is go through this and see, are these really truly issues for you. So that is just like I said, W3AF. This one does have some other options in it available. You can kind of play around with some of these things. You go ahead and log different requests for you. Like I said, you can change the configuration of it. You can do a lot of stuff inside this tool if you want. And this one does tend to be one of the more popular ones too. Mm-hmm. So just keep that in mind as well. I mean, just the fact that you can set up your scan and customize the scan to your liking is just a great thing to have.
Nice.
So that is the W3AF. The other thing I want to talk about here, and I'll go ahead and just quit out of this and get rid of that. What I have is this utility over here, which is actually still kind of doing its scan. What this is let me go right to the top. So there's a lot of stuff happening here. What this is the results of a utility called, let's just go up here, GoListMiro. What this one does, I like how they call it the web knife.
Nice.
So that just sounds intimidating, doesn't it? What this one will do for you, and I really dig this, is the fact that you can run it by itself against a target. So if I do GoListMiro-D and then put in my website over here, it'll just do its basic checks against that website, and that's it.
Okay.
But what makes this really, really neat is I'll go ahead and close this just to give you a kind of a peek at this. Is if you go Listmoro, what this is doing is Go Listmoro actually has. Let me see if I can bring up the whole help file. It's only giving me part of it here. What this one can do is if I go up this list. Okay, so what we have is, first of all, here's some of the switches that you can use. You can tell it what to scan and all that good stuff. Okay, so that's fine. I mean, it is a scanner. It's designed to do that and those types of things for you. You can see it will do will generate a report for you if you want. It has that functionality for it. Okay, hey, that's pretty cool. But as we go down the list in here, this is kind of where it gets really interesting. Is that if you'll notice, it starts referencing these plugins. Those plugins, they do have a list. Let's see, the switch for it is it's got the Go Listmoro plugins. So if I go Listmoro and then do type in plugins, okay. But these plugins can do, here's just, and you can tell it's on a short list. What's really cool about these things is, okay, there's the top of the list of plugins. Okay, so all right, we go through. So there's some of the plugins that are there. Here's some other plugins. Not all of these are loaded, and it won't run all of these for you until you load them. Okay, so you can see in here it's got one for DNS Resolver, another one to see if the domain has been hijacked or someone's trying to capture traffic from it. Fingerprint your web server. Check against your check it against an exploit database. Geolocated. You might be able to do that.
It looked like if you scroll back up there, it looked like some of the tools we've already run independently are actually part of this tool too, or it can go and run those as well for you.
Yeah,
like Nick2's in there, Nmap is in there, which we've seen and run as independent tools.
You're absolutely right. It's, you saw it right there. Is that this one's got these other tools. You can see Shodan's in there. We talked about that in our CEH. Spiderfoot is another one that can go through and crawl through a website and get detailed information. The Harvester, well, we looked at the Harvester already, so it's here. That's a plugin, and there's Nikto right there at the bottom. So what this amounts to, I mean, there's Nmap. Nmap you can get at Heartbleed. You can have it checked for those things. So it's got all these various things in here. That means that you can go through and do something like that. Because what it's doing is, if you do Go Listmoro and just do Go Listmoro --H and then put in the target, all it's going to do is check that target. That's it. However, if you want to take it a step further, you can now say Go Listmoro -D, and it says I want to use these plugins, and you go through the list and just say this plugin, comma this plugin, comma this plugin, all the ones you want to use, and then put in the target, and it will run the main Go Listmoro functionality, and then it will run each one of those plugins in turn, and if you choose, it will stick it all into a report, and you're done.
Wow, nice.
So that's what makes this one especially powerful in the scheme of things, is that it's not just doing one thing, it's doing multiple things if you so choose. Now, remember, the downside of that is, if you haven't already picked it up, if you're running multiple plugins like that, don't count in this thing be taking a short amount of time. Be conservative with it. One of the things we're taking a longer break here is I was trying to kind of get this thing to give you some to give you a look at results and give you something beyond just what the basic Go Listmoro does, which is the basic Go Listmoro gives you some good results, but they're not that dramatic or striking. So I was like, well, let me see if I can add some more stuff into it to show you just kind of what one of these things looks like. And it was taking a while. We were sitting back there, and I was just like, okay, still checking. Who knows how longer it would have taken.
Right.
So I just killed it and said, okay, well, let's just go ahead and we'll talk about it. And then you guys, you can see the syntax to run the extra plugins is very easy. You can choose to do it if you want.
Nice.
So it's another very, very nice tool for you to use to get some interesting results.
It's always nice when you can find a tool that kind of combines multiple tools,
Oh, yeah.
gives you one interface, or in this case, that one command line interface to get used to, and just run multiple tools at once. That's a time saver. I can be working on other things while that particular test is going on.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I look at this, is that you have a utility that combines multiple things. And so when you look through the list on GoListMero, if you've looked at that and seen, oh, the harvester's on there, and I found that useful, and Nikto, I found that useful, and you found all these things, now you don't have to script those things or do anything separately if you don't want to. You can just run this, and it can run them sequentially for you and generate a report, and you're done.
Nice. Always good.
So yeah, you gotta like that. That's the way I like it. You really gotta like it. And then just one other thing to point out here, if you haven't already kind of seen it, right there is, look down here at the on the screen. You can see it says report plugins here. If you look at the report plugins, I mean, just look at what it's doing. It doesn't just puke this out into a text file like you can. That's not necessarily a problem, but it doesn't just puke it out into a text file. You can choose that, but you can see here it can do it in a lot of other formats too. HTML. You can see LTSV for putting into a database. I guess if you want to do that. I mean, there's sort of some other ones. Look at that, ODT, Open Office document format. You can take it into LibreOffice or OpenOffice. Both of those will read that. So, and then you can just say, I want to render the whole thing in text or whatever.
That's nice.
And once you're done, just
flexibility. That way, whatever the customer wants that report format to be in, I don't have to worry about converting things. This tool will output it into just about anything, it looks like.
Yeah, that's really, it gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility in the format. I mean, heck, even if the customer wasn't going to see this report, because I immediately look at it and say, well, what if I wrote this out to something like an ODT file? Heck, I have LibreOffice on here. I'll open an ODT file in there, and I can just copy and paste the text right out of those into my report instead of having to retype stuff. I've got it just right in there. So the information I've gathered on a vulnerability, just drop it right in. And maybe I got to change some of the wording here and there to make it more understandable to the client. I just don't have to rewrite the whole thing. I can tell them, yeah, I use another tool to get this, and I use their description of it, and I cleaned it up for you, and that's it.
Perfect. Nice. Well, Sean, again, another great set of tools we can use to analyze our web servers, and then the applications that are running on those web servers. Look for those vulnerabilities that we can report back in our penetration test, and especially that last one with all the different, we can combine those tools together, as well as various output methods that we can use, so that we can really support just about anything that customer wants. That's fantastic. All right, well, anything else we want to throw in this episode before we wrap it up?
Well, again, try these things out in practice. The ones that we have shown you over the past 3 segments here have been the ones that I tend to think are some of the better ones or more interesting ones. They're definitely not the only ones. You guys know that, I know that. So you can go ahead and try some of these other ones and see what they get you, and see if those results are something that are going to be things that are going to give you information that you can use to secure your system better, or what have you in that case. So yeah, just play around, experiment, see what you get, and go from there. That's a lot of stuff going on with web application or web testing utility. Just so much you can do. This is a really cool thing.
Yeah, we brought it up in that very first episode in this series about the web servers and web applications. So many different combinations of the server platform, the applications that are running on it. But now we've got a myriad of tools. Set up your sandbox and go to town. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed watching this show. Signing off for IT Pro TV, I'm Mike Roderick.
And I'm Sean Ariano.
And we'll see you next time.